into the topic about Rett syndrome, I'm going to tell you guys about the basic concept so you guys understand it better. But before that, I'll give you some background information on Rett syndrome so it doesn't confuse you in the later on, and I'll show you a video for that. Okay, never mind, it's blocked.
Oh.
But pretty much the video talks about symptoms that most girls go through, and there's like hand movement problems that they have, so their hands just randomly keep moving and they can't control that. It stops when they're asleep, but other than that, it never stops. And this picture shows their hand movements, like they're twisting their hands constantly, or they're clapping their hands constantly. And then there's another picture of a girl doing that. And then this is a girl who has hand problems, but then also after a certain age, they can't walk. So they have wheelchairs and other support because they can't eat by themselves, and they need support for everything that's physical. So today I have 5 goals for you guys. The first one is to be able to understand what the basic structure of a cell is, and what a cell is itself, and most specifically what a gene is. And then you got to understand what a protein is and why it's so important for our bodies. Has anyone heard of proteins?
Yeah.
I have. And then the third one is to be able to understand what a mutation is and what it causes and leads to.
Just this.
And then the fourth one is to be able to apply these concepts to Rett syndrome and know why Rett syndrome is caused. And then the last one is how to face a person diagnosed with this disorder. So at the end of my lesson, we'll come up with tips together. So you guys, yeah.
I know what cells are and genes.
Well, I'll help you
Quick.
with the lesson.
Put your hand down, Grace. Sleep.
Are you just gonna be here for this day?
Yeah. Okay, so before we begin, we'll talk about these basic concepts that I just went over. So, cell structure. So all living things are made up of cells, so even humans, so us, we're all made up of cells. We have tons of cells in our bodies, like there's not a number of how many because there's too many to count. And then there's several different types of cells. So some are brain cells, and then there's skin cells, liver cells, and stomach cells. And those are just a few of the many. And then each cell has its own function and special features, so it does its own thing, and they're not the same. Yeah.
What I know what cells are.
Yeah.
Cells are sort of like these little particles that if they're fused together like DNA cells, create your DNA. And I'm pretty sure the kind of thing that makes the girls not be able to control their hand or move their legs is sickness that breaks up some of the DNA cells.
Yeah. It's all connected to the brain.
Because my dad has sort of a friend too, whose mom took a special medicine that broke up some of her DNA cells, which made fingers sprout out of his shoulders and no arms.
Yeah. Because our body's all connected together, so it does. If something goes wrong, another thing goes wrong. So that's what our blood cells look like. We have 2 types. We have white blood cells and red blood cells. So these are our red blood cells.
They look like candy?
Yeah.
They look yummy!
And then this is a cartoon version of a cell, and that's what the inside of a cell looks like. So there's tons of parts, but we're not going to learn about them all. So what's inside of a cell? So there's several parts in a cell, and the parts are known as organelles, but we're not going to go into that. So we're going to focus on the basics. So the center of a cell is known as the nucleus. Can you guys say nucleus?
Nucleus.
Good. And then inside the nucleus is the DNA, as he mentioned.
Elliot. I know. We're just going to let her give her a lesson.
So what's DNA and what's inside of that? So DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, and you guys don't need to know that. And so DNA is the hereditary material, so that makes us what we are. So we all look different because our parents all passed down genes, which I'll talk about. So now we all look different. Some have blonde hair, some have black hair.
Black hair.
Inside of DNA, there are many genes, and those are the things that make us look different. And genes are also instructions in making proteins. So that's what the DNA looks like. And there's other parts in here that connects everything together, but it's too complicated for me to describe everything. So that's one picture. So what did we just learn? We just learned about the basic structure of a cell. And now you guys are going to draw your own cell with all the parts. So you guys can work together and draw and label all the parts that you just learned about.
No, we're going to do this.
Not this. That's for Spider-Man.
Also, that's what you hang on to.
That would be moving. That's for Spider-Man. That would be moving.
So, we might want to put some of the
Yeah, I can go back.
So you're going to get a chance to show off all your knowledge here. Draw a cell. This is probably not a good time for that. So, maybe not right now. Ellie, maybe anymore.
I'm gonna go
So,
back.
you're going to draw a cell.
Spelling for everything.
So, remember what it looked like? Remember the nucleus and the DNA? Remember the picture that Anjli just showed us of what a cell looks like?
You guys also have the basic cell. You just had to put in the parts now.
What's the nucleus of atoms? Our nucleus is also an atom.
So that's your cell already. So now you can draw the nucleus and then draw what's inside the nucleus. And then what's inside the DNA.
Inside the cell is what's in the inside of that cell? What's in the middle of it? And look up there, remember the nucleus? Remember she showed us the nucleus and had us say nucleus? And remember inside the nucleus is what?
I don't know what the nucleus is.
But did you look up at her picture? Let me go back to your picture. I think that they're
You guys want to just do this together?
blanked out. I think that they need to just look at it again. So there's the inside of a cell. Remember when we saw the inside of, remember that little round piece in the middle is called
the
the?
nucleus.
Okay.
It's like the most important part of the cell.
I'll do that first.
Yeah. So once you get the nucleus, you do what's inside of that. The DNA is just, let me just show you guys the DNA really quick. The DNA is just that. They can just do like swirly lines. Yeah.
Spider-Man's DNA is DNA in the same place as RNA. That's Spider-Man.
No, the RNA is different. That's too complicated for everyone to understand.
I'm the one that needs to I'm the first one to keep it up. I'm the one that looks better than that. I was the first one to have the nucleus.
So do you guys have the nucleus now?
No.
It's only this part, only the red part.
Oh yeah, but I have that down.
Okay, the other thing, you guys, it's too much for this.
I just put the red dot.
What? Did you get that?
You have to draw those?
Only
It's
this
not that
part.
hard. Just color it red now. And make the circle around it.